assess a government by three kinds of standards. One is how did it compare to the previous governments or other governments in the country? Second, how did it do vis-a-vis its own written promises? And third, how did it compare to the expectations that it gave rise to, the hopes that people had? On the first one, I would say that the government of the last 1 year may have been a shade better than the previous Congress government. It's better because electricity prices came down. In some areas, water supply has increased. The promise of free water delivery was fulfilled. In some arenas, simplification of procedures has taken place. Educational budget has gone up. And some transparency in school admission has come, notwithstanding the court orders and so on. All these are positive things. At the lower level in the city, ordinary people have experienced reduction in corruption. That may or may not be because of what the government is doing. But the very fact that a party which came on anti-corruption plank has come to power sends messages and signals throughout society which are good enough to hold for a year. All these are positives, and the odd even experiment was a positive mood which we have welcomed. All these are positives, should be welcomed. Clearly, this is not the only government that does positive things in a year. Other governments also do some positive things. It would be hard to say whether the positives of this government were how they compared with those of Congress in the first year, etc. And when it came for the first time, governments bring in that extra energy. But on balance, I'm willing to buy the claim that the government may have performed better. That for an ordinary citizen, life has got a little better in the last 1 year compared to what it was towards the end of the Congress regime. There's no doubt about that. I felt that some of the easy things have been done and some of the difficult things now confront this government. They may be a serious challenge because the Aam Aadmi Party government has so far shown very little understanding of the grammar of governance. You do not govern by holding press conferences. You do not govern by shouting at your own bureaucrats. You do not govern by holding big rallies of people. In the last instance, you govern through institutional structures. And that is what this government has very little appetite for, very little understanding for. There is inevitably some degree of tension within a government and in a federal polity vis-a-vis other governments. So a Delhi government always has had uneasy relationship with the central government and with the NCD. But never have we witnessed the kind of standoff that we have seen so often in the last 1 year. I have no doubt that the BJP must take its own share of blame for that. There have been many occasions where it was quite clear that the LG went out of its way to obstruct the path of this government. And the MCD is clearly trying to play games, play blame games. But in politics, these are not extraordinary situations. A government which came riding on such a popularity wave could have handled these situations with tact, with grace, with institutional craft. But I'm afraid they don't understand this at all. And somehow they think that creating continuous confrontation is the way to go forward. I'm not sure. I feel and I fear that the end result of much of this confrontation will be that many of the stated goals would actually recede further. At the end of this confrontation, we will not be one step closer to Delhi as a state. We actually may be 2 steps further away from that goal.